This is not a winning argument for Governor Newsom. And because it's not a winning argument for him, it's not going to be a winning argument for Mayor Karen Bass, and it's not going to be a winning argument for the Democratic Party. Where would I get that from? Let me read some stuff to you.
Stephen A. Smith just delivered a stunning explanation for why Gavin Newsom's presidential ambitions may already be unraveling, and it's not what most people are focused on. Newsom has never outright dismissed talk of a White House run, but according to Stephen A. Smith, one critical and largely ignored reality could bring the whole plan crashing down. It's a factor barely being discussed in mainstream political circles. This isn't surface-level politics or personality drama. It's a strategic vulnerability that could derail everything. So as always, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and let's break this down right now.
It's not just on the broad issue of immigration, it's on the specifics as well, in which the American public is with Donald Trump and the Republicans, and that is why Donald Trump is eager to take on this fight and eager for those scenes out of Los Angeles.
Did you hear that, Governor Newsom? Did you hear that? I know you're about to leave office soon. I get that. But did you just hear that? America is with Donald Trump. America is with the GOP on this issue, okay? He's gaining traction in the midst of distracting us from all the other issues that involves him right now because of what's going on in the streets of Los Angeles.
What we're seeing right now, as Stephen A. Smith points out, is a noticeable shift in public sentiment toward Donald Trump. No matter how Gavin Newsom attempts to frame the narrative, his strategy has been clear from the beginning. Undermine Trump's popularity, chip away at his base, and turn that perception into momentum for himself. On paper, it sounds smart. In practice, it's backfiring. Americans across multiple demographics are increasingly siding with Trump on key issues. While Newsom's tightly scripted messaging struggles to resonate, what was meant to be a calculated political move is now exposing a serious disconnect between how Newsom believes the country feels and what's actually happening nationwide. In this political chess match, Trump appears to be holding the stronger position as Newsom's path grows steeper.
Immigration, undocumented population. According to the research, estimated numbers as of 2022, California had about 1.8 million undocumented immigrants, the largest in any state in the United States, though down 120,000 recently, okay? This equates to roughly 7.3% of California's total population, by the way, involving broader immigrant workforce. Approximately 1/3 of jobs in California are held by immigrants, including legal, naturalized, and undocumented. So what happens here is that you have people that are looking at the migrant crisis, looking at undocumented immigrants, looking at illegal immigrants, seeing them use the healthcare system. Ever heard of Medi-Cal? And then remember with California and Newsom, they were talking about how billions were spent.
Stephen A. Smith expands the conversation by highlighting what he describes as deeply troubling realities surrounding illegal immigration and undocumented populations, particularly in California. He moves beyond daily headlines and focuses on the structural impact. Overloaded public services, strained healthcare systems, mounting pressure on schools, housing shortages, and law enforcement challenges all collide into a chain reaction that reshapes the state's economy and social stability. When you zoom out, Stephen A. Smith argues, it becomes easier to understand why so many Americans are gravitating toward tougher enforcement policies and why Trump's stance continues to gain traction. This isn't just partisan debate. It's about leadership, accountability, and the responsibility to maintain national stability. In his view, California's struggles mirror a broader national concern that continues pushing public opinion in Trump's direction.
Donald Trump has lost cases before when states and others have filed lawsuits against him. Some of the executive orders that he's issued has not been successful. And we know that his efforts in this particular instance may end up being derailed. But that does not mean that Governor Newsom is not playing directly into his hands. He himself said, this is exactly what Donald Trump wanted. Well, forgive this rhetorical question, then why the hell are you giving it to him? Why the hell are you playing right into the hands of Donald Trump?
Stephen A. Smith doesn't hold back here. He argues that Gavin Newsom may be walking straight into a trap that ultimately benefits Donald Trump. And this trap could quietly destroy Newsom's presidential hopes. At the center of the issue is the escalating legal and political battle over ICE operations and federal authority in California. Newsom has taken the Trump administration to court, accusing it of federal overreach through ICE enforcement and the federalization of National Guard units without state approval. He frames it as a defense of state rights and civil liberties. But Stephen A. Smith warns that this confrontation may be exactly what Trump wants: a loud, polarizing conflict that paints Newsom as reactive and combative rather than presidential. It's a blind spot few are acknowledging, but one that could prove devastating.
There's a reason he won a popular vote. There's a reason he won the Electoral College vote. There's a reason he won every swing state. There are people within the United States of America that want our immigration crisis addressed and want the situation resolved somehow, some way. And the person that seems eager to bring a resolution to the table is President Donald Trump. Now, others may challenge that because they may say we had a bipartisan agreement when Joe Biden was in office that Donald Trump convinced the GOP to nix because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked. It worked. And I got news for you, Governor Newsom. It's working now.
Stephen A. Smith puts it plainly. Immigration is a defining issue dominating the national conversation, and it's not going away. From strained public resources to serious enforcement and security concerns, the debate continues to intensify. According to Stephen A. Smith, Trump and the GOP are seen as actively addressing the issue, while many on the other side appear hesitant or resistant. He argues that Newsom and the Democratic Party are choosing confrontation over solutions, blocking federal enforcement efforts and turning immigration into a political showdown. While they may view this as principled resistance, Stephen A. Smith believes it plays directly into Trump's strategy. What's framed as defiance may actually strengthen Trump's position while making his opponents appear ineffective and unprepared.
This is not a winning argument for Governor Newsom. And because it's not a winning argument for him, it's not going to be a winning argument for Mayor Karen Bass, and it's not going to be a winning argument for the Democratic Party. Where would I get that from? Let me read some stuff to you. This is on the state of California alone, just on some research note here. Current deficit. California faces a projected $12 billion. This is according to research. California faces a projected $12 billion additional budget shortfall for 25-26, meaning 2025-2026, on top of previous gaps, marking at least the third straight year of structural deficit.
Beyond immigration, Stephen A. Smith highlights mounting economic challenges that threaten Newsom's national credibility. He points to data suggesting both Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass are struggling to manage key economic indicators. Rising living costs, sluggish job growth, and fiscal strain are creating an economic record that fails to inspire voter confidence. In national politics, perception matters as much as policy. Stephen A. Smith argues that appearing unable to manage California's massive economy raises serious questions about Newsom's readiness to lead the country. When combined with immigration disputes and other high-profile controversies, these economic headwinds could severely weaken Newsom's presidential prospects.
Annual spending exceeds revenue by $10 to $20 billion, prompting reliance on reserves, borrowing, and accounting maneuvers. Without reform, state debt could reach $42 billion. Rainy day reserves. The governor plans to use $7.1 billion from reserves, leaving a total cushion of approximately $15.7 billion by mid-2026. So now you're digging in to the rainy reserves, okay? Rainy day reserve.
Based on the financial figures Stephen A. Smith highlighted, Newsom now appears to be making a desperate push as California sinks deeper into chronic overspending. The numbers paint a concerning picture. Budget pressures are mounting, essential programs are stretched thin, and taxpayer funds are being pushed to their limits. Yet Newsom's administration shows little evidence of strong fiscal discipline. Stephen A. Smith argues that if Newsom cannot control spending in California, it casts doubt on his ability to manage a national budget. These financial missteps, paired with challenges in immigration and economic policy, are beginning to crack Newsom's carefully crafted image as a competent, forward-thinking leader.
And then remember with California and Newsom, they were talking about how billions were spent, okay, on illegal immigrants. And as a result, there's a shortfall there and you're looking for federal assistance. These are the kind of things that are going on in the state of California. Gavin Newsom knows this better than anybody. So why make this argument as vociferous as it is against the Trump administration and then engaging in challenging the head of ICE to come and arrest you? Why would you do that, Gavin Newsom? Why would you do this? Here's the quote. He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me. That kind of bloviating is exhausting. So Tom, arrest me. Let's go. That's Gavin Newsom daring the head of ICE, Mr. Tom Homan, to arrest him.
Stephen A. Smith also criticizes Newsom's polished public persona, describing it as overly calculated and increasingly counterproductive. According to Stephen A. Smith, Newsom is fully aware of how illegal immigration strains California's infrastructure, economy, and public services, yet avoids addressing it directly. Instead, he opts for headline-grabbing moments, including publicly daring former ICE Director Tom Homan to arrest him. Stephen A. Smith points out that this gesture solved nothing. It generated attention, not solutions. Rather than leadership, it came across as performance politics. A spectacle designed to energize supporters and dominate headlines without delivering results.
Tom Homan, in case y'all don't remember who the hell he is, he's been a guest on this show. And this is a man, okay, that is not messing around. And he has made it very, very clear that he is not beyond arresting elected officials. He is not beyond arresting sitting mayors, sitting governors, whomever. He doesn't give a damn. He's not playing. And Donald Trump just spoke publicly today saying if he was Tom Homan, I would take Gavin Newsom up on his offer and arrest him. But again, in case you don't remember who he is, let me show you who he is. This is Tom Homan months ago, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show. Take a look at who this man is and what he stands for with the issue of illegal immigration. Check it out.
Sanctuary cities are sanctuary criminals. And we're going to hold them accountable. And Pam Bondi, now that she's the Attorney General, she's already filed a lawsuit.
Stephen A. Smith then reminds viewers exactly who Tom Homan is. A former guest on his show, Homan has made it clear he takes immigration enforcement seriously and does not shy away from holding officials accountable. Homan has publicly stated that sanctuary policies undermine federal law enforcement and allow dangerous individuals to remain on the streets. From his perspective, this isn't about party politics. It's about public safety. Homan argues that refusing cooperation with federal authorities creates real consequences for communities, increasing crime and eroding trust. Until leaders confront that reality instead of defending failed policies, he warns stability and safety will remain out of reach.
Do you think Gavin Newsom is running for president?
I think he is the likely alternative.
That's interesting because I like Gavin a lot. Now, I hope he runs for president because I think getting to the national stage would help with the one thing I have trouble with him about, which is sometimes he's way too cuckoo, woke left.
Even Bill Maher, far from a conservative voice, has warned that Gavin Newsom's deep dive into woke politics is starting to damage his credibility. Maher argues that ideology has overtaken practical governance in California, sidelining problem-solving in favor of symbolic gestures. From crime to economic strain, many of Newsom's policies have failed to deliver tangible improvements. Maher's critique carries weight because it comes from within Newsom's own political camp, reflecting growing frustration among moderates. Whether addressing immigration or economic stability, Newsom's leadership increasingly appears performative rather than effective. Polished messaging and rhetoric remain abundant, but real-world results are harder to find. And with that, we wrap up today's video. If you like this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more.